very deep into the crypto community. So you can take over now. Let's begin.
Thank you, Ishan. So, just one thing. Let's talk about a lot cryptocurrencies and something that we have. I'll just share my screen so that we can just go over to the presentation. Give me just 1 second. Yeah, got it. Just a second. So, whenever we are talking about cryptocurrencies and a lot of stuff which is around it, like a lot of host of new things that have been developed around it, like for example, it initially started with Bitcoin, went ahead with let's say something which was more than just Bitcoin, which was Ethereum and smart contracts, then DeFi, then tokenization, NFTs, crypto capital, CBDCs. I mean, the world of cryptocurrency is developing at such a fast pace that it's really difficult to actually go out and actually keep pace of what exactly is happening in this world. And this is where what happens is a lot of people get confused and a lot of people feel that I don't know what is happening in this world and I just cannot keep pace. So that's one of the biggest problems that people have. And if you have a fair understanding, these things start to make sense. And if you do not have like understand them properly, most of these things will feel like okay, they do not have any sense. Why would someone would like to buy a PHP photo for let's say $330K? Why Eminem is going out and spending so much amount just for a photo which he can just print out from his computer itself? So all these things are there in our mind, and this is where what happens is you have to understand how this whole thing began, what exactly these things are solving, and how exactly is the value that is there is getting created. Because until and unless you understand how these things began and how these things are creating value, it is going to be a very difficult task to literally have sense in that. So to start with, I think when we started, or when this whole cryptocurrency journey started in 2008 and 9 with Satoshi Nakamoto, the reason why it all started was, and I'll keep on coming onto this slide because this is the whole crux and core of everything that we want to learn today. So it started with in 2008-9. Why it started in 2008-9 was unlimited inflation. 2008-9 saw a great amount of meltdown that happened. A lot of shares, a lot of companies being shut down, and something like that. And then to revive the economy, what happened was the unlimited printing of money. And this is why this is something which impacts us, or why this is something which is important for any and every one of us to know, is because whatever money that you have is important, but the value that money holds might not be the same which it holds today in, let's say, 1 year. So if you take the example of the image that I've added here, so you can see $100 note, which was worth $100, which means the purchasing power of that $100 was $100, is now in 2008 less than $20. So this is where what is happening is you still have that 100 rupee dollar. Maybe if you had the dollar in your lockers, if you still have that, you still have that $100 note with you. But what happened was you couldn't purchase the exact amount of things that you were able to purchase in 1971. To give you a very simple example, Coke. Everyone, I think, knows what Coke and Pepsi is all about. And if I talk about 1990s, when it came to India, it was sold at somewhere around 0.32 rupees, which is 32 paisa. A 32 paisa bottle was somewhere around 300 ml. Today, if you talk about the same bottle, that same bottle, if you have to purchase, you have to actually go out and shelf somewhere around 20 rupees, 25 rupees. So that's something which has happened. Did the value of the product went up? No. But what happened was the money that you had, actually the value that it holds started to go down. And this is one of the biggest reason why a lot of people started to not trust the money. They tend to go out and they tend to venture into something which is the alternate of money. They usually go out into something which is maybe shares, commodities, which is like gold or something like that. And they saw a new venue which was coming into picture, which had a clear financial model, which is like it has a limited number of supply in the market, cannot be manipulated or cannot be changed by just one random decision by a central authority. So that was something that came out as something which was something different. And one of the biggest thing that no digital currency or no online currency was able to solve was double spend. Now, what exactly is a double spend? To give you a very simple example on double spend, let's think about something. Let's say you want to go to a movie, and you have five friends and you want to go for a movie and you buy four five tickets and something like that. But at the end, something happens and you're not able to go. And what you do is you go into Facebook and say, I have five tickets of this XYZ movie. If you want, you can just let me know. Now, when let's say five people approach you, the good thing is that you just give it to one single individual and that's it. But what you can also do is, because all you have to do is just use that email where you've got the tickets and just forward them to all the people who are coming to you to sell them off. You can literally just forward the same email to five different people and collect money from five different people. Why? Because nobody knows that you have sent those tickets to someone else. And until and unless they actually reach to the movie theater and they show the tickets, only the first one will get the entry and the other people would not be able to get the entry. That is something which is double spend. The thing that you do not have, you try to sell it off so that ultimately, when it is being used, it cannot be used for multiple purposes or for the purpose it was bought. So that is something which was not being able to solve on the online money. And that is why we required banks in between so that they can become the mediator and ensure nobody is spending something which they don't have. When Bitcoin came into the picture, the way it was designed, it eliminated the need of a central authority to go out and do this change or do this transaction or to do this transfer. And that was the first successful implication or the implementation of a currency which did not require a central bank and yet was not able to be double spent. Now, one question that I want to ask people here, what exactly? So we have often what happens is we go out and we say that okay, Bitcoin is not something which is good, and our fiat is something which is very good because it is backed by gold or something like that. So what do you think is your fiat backed by? Anything that you have in your mind, just you can type it out in the chat section itself. Anyone who wants to try out what exactly is your fiat backed by? Awesome. So I have a few answers, but one of the answers that I've got is like, for example, yeah, go ahead. I think most of the people are, everyone, what they're saying is correct. It's backed by people's trust. So there's nothing else when you're talking about fear, there's nothing else that is backing all the things that you have in your pocket. And the promise that government will refund you or replenish that same paper when, so I think someone quoted the example of demonetization. So let me tell you, in demonetization, what happened was that was a real way in which you could realize that something that was there in your wallet literally turned useless the moment this announcement was made. And you were given like a set time period in which you have to just get it changed. And if you didn't, then that's just a piece of paper. So this is exactly what is highlighting the actual value that people have or the fiat currency has. Mostly what happens is the fiat is governed or the fiat is backed by people's trust. There's nothing else behind it. So we trust the government. So we believe whatever the government is issuing, that will be held, that can be used in the economy to buy and sell stuff. Now, tomorrow, if the government falls and there is no one to recover, so if you take the example of Afghanistan right now, what happened was the government fell down and the trust on the money that was there in Afghanistan fell off. So now that's just a piece of paper or significantly having lower value than it used to have at the point when it was actually there when the government was there. So this is something which what happens is when you talk about the fiat money, what happens is it is not backed by gold. I'm very happy that nobody actually went out and said it is backed by gold or it is backed by oil. So that means a lot of people know what exactly it is backed by. That's nothing, and it's people trust. So that is exactly what, when you talk about Bitcoin also, that is also exactly the same. You're talking about people's trust, but what happens with fiat is the decisions that are made, the decisions that people make, or the decisions that all of you or all the central governments make is something which everyone has to go out and listen to. Nobody can actually go out and challenge that because that's the government. Now here, the unlimited money can just print, print, print. Now your question could be, what is the problem if we have unlimited money getting printed? What happens? So let me tell you. Assume, let's say the prime minister, so the elections are, let's say, going on in the country, and the prime minister says, I'm going to give everyone 5 lakh rupees if I win the elections. That's an awesome thing. The person becomes the prime minister and something like that happens. Okay, that's cool. Now what happens? Let's say before this 5 lakh rupee actually went out, or the 5 lakh rupee was actually given to someone, I was going out to buy an iPhone. Let's say I was going to buy iPhone 13, cost somewhere around 80,000 rupees. Now, when we talk about that iPhone, which was 80,000 rupees, there are a lot of factors that the company takes into consideration. I know they take a lot of brand value or whatever, but they know even with that brand value, people are going to pay. And that is why they price that item that way. Now, suddenly, the company realizes that everyone has 5 lakh rupees more. Now, if the company realizes that everyone has 5 lakh rupees, that means the company knows if we increase the price from 80,000 to 1 lakh rupees of that same iPhone, will people be able to buy them? What do you think? Will they be able to buy those things now?
Yes.
They will. Exactly. So what happened was the same thing, the same mobile phone that you had for 80,000 rupees now is costing 81 lakh rupees. Now that is what happens when unlimited money, or the new amount of money, keeps on circulating in the market. That is exactly what happened in US right now. If you see the inflation or the number of printing that has happened in US in the past 1.5 years, so they have literally printed 1/3 of the supply which was already circulating since inception. So this is what happens when a lot of money printing happens. There's a huge amount of inflation, which reduces the value of the money that you have, the purchasing power of the money that you have. No matter, the 100 rupee note will still remain the 100 rupee note, but what you can buy from that 100 rupee note changes significantly. So that is where what happened was people's trust started to get reduced, and that is where, when the COVID happened, and again the same scenario started to play out, that the corporations were not able to pay, there were a lot of bad debts that started to happen, the market collapsed like anything. People started to find out what exactly is the alternate where they can invest. Why? Because first of all, they were losing jobs. Second, the value of the money was going down, and they had to find ways in which they can basically earn. So they went to stock market. Today, if you see, the even after 2 years of COVID, when the operations have gone down, but the prices are skyrocketing of every stock that you know. Sometimes you don't even know what the company is doing, but the prices are still skyrocketing. Why? Because so many people are just trying to take a risk on the money so that they can get a return, which is required by them to save themselves from the inflation. Similarly, a lot of people started investing in cryptocurrencies. So that is where the whole trend of cryptocurrency started to come into picture. Now let's come back to a little bit of Bitcoin again. And this, if you see this image, what happened was this was exactly the scenario in 2008-9 when unlimited printing was happening, and the customer who was there was actually losing value. And if you see, so in the image itself, the first one, that's the Genesis block, and that's the something you can say which was written in that particular block. And on the right side of the block, you can check also what was the date at which this block was written. So if you just focus on this, I'll just maximize this for you. So here, if you see, it's written the times 3rd January 2009, and he's quoted the headline here: Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. Now, this is where what Satoshi Nakamoto, the person who was behind creation of Bitcoin, he said that there is no way in which you can control this money printing. And who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Well, nobody knows. It's still a mystery. Some people say, can you guess the person who's there in the image?
Elon.
Exactly. So yeah, I think most probably he is. He might not be. There are theories which say he is. There are theories that do not prove it. But yeah. So that was something that was created at that point of time. And the beauty of let's say, the Bitcoin is when you're talking about fiat and you're trusting a government which can change the laws and everything at its own discretion, maybe to run an economy the way they see it fit. Here, what happens with Bitcoin is exactly the opposite. So you cannot go out and change the supply of this particular asset, or you cannot go out, or you cannot actually do anything about how it is coming into the picture or how it is being brought into the market, how the supply is reducing every 4 years. Nothing. Whatever has been written in the codes is something which is till date. Today, I think we have just celebrated the 13th year of Bitcoin's birth. So till today, nobody has been able to go out and change anything that was written in the code. So that is where the trust got created. Now, the next question that you will have in your mind is, cool, if you want me to believe that Bitcoin is a mode of exchange or a medium of exchange where I can use to put and buy and sell stuff, what happens with the price stability? Sometimes the Bitcoin is priced at 20,000, 10,000, 15,000. Sometimes it's 35,000, 40,000. So what exactly do we do? Should we take the payment in Bitcoin at night? Let's say when it's 45,000, in the morning it's 40,000. What should we do? And if this is something which is going to continue forever, whether this is a good thing to do, because ultimately my money, in let's say in today's world, RBI says that the CPI and the inflation is somewhere around 8%. So that means my 100 rupee purchasing power will be reduced by 8% over a year. But here what happens is, let's say you are actually reducing that one overnight. So this is more risky. Why should I buy that? So that is exactly the question that you should have. Yeah, absolutely, we can buy the dip. But let's come back here. So let's say what, according to me, or what exactly is something that I see right now is, imagine, let's. I'm trying to talk through various examples so that you can correlate. It's not about just reading the slides. So let's talk about one example. And when you talk about this example, let's say when I'm saying that, okay, let's say tomorrow the Prime Minister again comes up and instead of giving you 5 lakh rupee, this time he gives you a bigger shock. He says, from next week, there is no need, or the INR that you hold in your wallet is useless, and we are going to use US dollars instead to commute or to give money across or to use it for the transactions across the nation. What do you think will happen to the price of US dollar at that time? There would be a sudden jump. There would be an increase in the price. The reason why the prices will increase is because suddenly we have 130 crore people wanting to buy US dollars, and the supply did not increase suddenly. So that is exactly what is happening with Bitcoin right now. If you talk about today there are somewhere around 36 million addresses. And that does not mean that 36 million people hold Bitcoin. I personally can say that I have created and destroyed some of the addresses. Means I have submitted sometimes the money, then sold them off. So it's like a zero balance or negligible balance. There are single people who are holding multiple wallets. So what I'm trying to say is that there is a very limited number of people who currently hold it. Now, as more and more people are adopting Bitcoin, let's say, so what is happening is more and more purchasing power and more people are trying to get it. So that is why what will happen is, and when it's all started, there was a huge accumulation of big amount of Bitcoin quantity with a limited number of people. So that is why this manipulation will always happen. When the prices will rise, these this limited number of people will try to sell their Bitcoins off, and the prices will decrease. So this thing will continue to happen. So as of now, do I personally see it as a value of exchange? The answer is no. But what do I see it then? I see it more of a commodity. And why I see it as more of a commodity is because of one particular reason. Because I want to compare it, let's say, with gold. Now, again, a question for you again. Tell me something. When gold was chosen to be gold, means a precious metal, let's say very sacred or something which is going to hold value and everything, was gold chosen because it was the obvious choice, which means the moment they saw gold, they were like, wow, this is the exact thing we were looking at? Or was this the residual choice, means people had no other choice but to choose gold?
Yeah, no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. Some people have given the right answer. They chose it as a financial backup. Okay. Cool. Okay. So let me tell you what happened. So gold was, first of all, not at all the obvious choice. Not at all. It was the residual choice. Now, what does that mean? This means that when you look at the periodic table, let's say, what happens is, let's say you cannot make gases something which is like valuable, because it's very difficult to even find out which gas you're carrying. And then the moment you open up, it goes out. So the ways in which you could carry gases was very difficult. So you cannot go out and you cannot do that. Second is, you cannot have reactive metals going out and being used as, let's say, a valuable thing, because they'll react and you cannot have them, even corrosive. So similarly, what happened, somewhere around 38 materials or elements were gone. And you cannot have something which is very abundant, like copper. You cannot have something which is like very rare, like for example, let's say palladium or osmium. So osmium is something which is available on meteorites. So that way, again, what happened, something like 26 more metals went out. Now we were left with 5 things, which was rhodium, palladium, gold, silver, and platinum. Now, rhodium and palladium people did not know in 1400s. So what was left? Platinum, gold, and silver. Platinum had a very high melting point somewhere, and because of that, the furnaces at that point of time were not able to melt platinum. So what is left? Silver and gold. Now, when silver and gold are left, silver is something, if you put it out under the sunlight, you will see in one single day it tarnishes and becomes black. So you remove silver as well. So what is left here is gold. So that is why gold was chosen as a gold, because there was no other choice available in the market. Now today, if let's say compare it with Bitcoin, is gold having a finite quantity? The answer is no. You can always find new reserves, but is Bitcoin limited in quantity? The answer is yes. Then the second thing is, can you use gold to do a normal day-to-day transaction? It would be very difficult to find or buy a chocolate. What will happen? Will you buy a chocolate with gold? Because how will you like dissect 10 rupee or 20 rupee or 100 rupee worth of gold to pay off for buying that chocolate? But can you do that with Bitcoin? The answer is yes, because Bitcoin is divisible into satoshis, and with those satoshis you can actually go out and actually pay off. Cool. Then can you authenticate gold easily? No. Or can you transfer gold easily? Let's say today I'm sitting here and I want to send you some gold. How do I do it? I have to literally spend money on insurance and then find out a service which can deliver gold or something like that. But if I want to transfer Bitcoin, can I transfer it today? The answer is yes. I can just send it just like an email. Within 2 minutes, you will get that Bitcoin in your address. So that way, what happens is gold is valuable because it was scarce. Bitcoin is more scarce. It was durable and portable, divisible, fungible, and how to counterfeit. Well, Bitcoin has all these facilities and even more. So that way, what we can say is, and let's assume what Elon Musk is trying to do, going towards the Mars and being in Mars. So what happens when that happens? Let's say you have a bar of gold and you want to set, and your relative on Mars wants something of value so that he can buy or sell stuff there. Can you send gold physically? The answer would be very difficult. Maybe he creates something so that you can transfer it. But can you send something over the internet? Yeah, most probably we can. That's a more certain scenario. And then that's a very valid question, Divyanshu. What happens with the online gold? So what happens with an online gold is you try to keep that custody with someone else. Now, this is something which my parents have personally suffered, so I can vouch for it. I think sometime back, 5, 6 years back, 7 years back, I don't even remember it. What happened was there was this agency that used to buy online gold and give you the units of that. Later on, after 5, 6 years of accumulating a lot of gold and silver, ultimately, when people started to redeem it back, it was not there. Why? Because I was believing a third party, which third party was not even buying gold or doing anything with that gold. So here what happens is you are trying to trust someone else with something which can go out and try and prove to be something which is not even existing. My father lost lakhs of rupees in that. Until date, the recovery is not 100%. We got somewhere around 20-25% of the money in recovery. So that is also something which can very easily happen. So that is why today, if I talk about gold, I see it more as a commodity. But yeah, most probably gold cannot be used if someone wants to make ornaments and wear in the necks in India, which is one of the biggest use case of gold in India. So Bitcoin fails there. So both have their importance. I'm not saying that both have equal usability, and both have. But what I'm saying is that whatever, if you're using it as a storehouse of value, then why Bitcoin just sticks on the ground and tries to prove everything that it has, that yeah, that is something which is useful. So that is where the whole concept of Bitcoin came into the picture. And then there were a lot of new cryptocurrencies. Today we have like 10,000, 20,000 plus cryptocurrencies out there. It's really very difficult becoming a game like everything. People, and it's like today when we're talking about this, it's more about that era when we connected with to the internet era, when the dot-com bubble busted. And yes, this bubble will also burst. Now, when I'm talking about this bubble, I'm not saying Bitcoin will burst. I'm saying that the 10,000 plus cryptocurrencies that have been created, 95% of them will have no value. Why? Because they generally do not have a use case. They do not have a business model. They do not have a revenue structure. Ultimately, what happens is if you're trying to create something of the value, if you're trying to create it for a business, you need to understand that the business needs to generate revenue. So that way, what will happen is nearly like, let's say in next 5 years, 95% of them will go bust. And that is why it's very important for anyone and everyone to understand that those values need to be derived very substantially, and you need to understand where you're investing. Okay, I won't be able to cover how you do it because that will take a lot of time. But yes, that is something which is very important for anyone who's going out and investing in it for a long-term scenario. That's why, Divyanshu, I said you have to go out and you have to carry these cryptos or these things more as a commodity and not as something that you want to trade off on a daily basis. If you see the long-term charts, always you will find yourself in profits. But if you see the short-term charts, yes, these manipulations will wash away your profits. So this was the first thing where what happened was we talked about cryptocurrency, we talked about Bitcoin becoming that thing as digital gold. And then came the era of DeFi or Ethereum, where a lot of smart contracts and everything started to emerge. Now, here what happened was we were trying to replicate, or we are trying to replicate a lot of financial structures, removing the intermediaries in between. And there are a lot of things that are happening here. You're creating money, you're doing the lending and borrowing within seconds as compared to banks, which takes weeks, sometimes months, in order to go out and give a loan or something. So that's something which you can do today in seconds. You can go out and invest passively. You can go out and bet here. You can go out and stream your payments here. I mean, there are unlimited things that are happening in this DeFi space where a lot of things are covered. And then when you start figuring out, okay, how these things are working, then slowly and steadily, once these assets try to stabilize, the next thing that people are trying to do is tokenize the real world assets. Now, if I talk about Dubai has tokenized real estate already. So there is a government, there's a working model which is already deployed in the with the Dubai government. And where what they're trying to do is they're trying to go out and they're trying to use this particular land, converting it into a token and trying to buy and sell the properties within less than 12 hours. In India, if you want to buy and sell a property, it takes months and it takes huge amounts of cost. And here with this model that Dubai has already created, it takes like 12 hours, no other cost, sit at home, pay all your dues, your title gets transferred from one person to another, and everything happens within 12 hours. So that is where what we are trying to do is we are trying to tokenize the real world assets and we are converting them into crypto. Why? Why we are trying to do this? Because this is where we are eliminating all the middlemen and this is where we are creating those efficiencies. So it started as just one peer-to-peer payment gateway, emerge itself as an ecosystem where you could build, deploy smart contracts, do your own business, make your own business structures on this. Then now it is slowly and steadily emerging to tokenization. And then what is happening is, then the next thing that is happening is NFTs. Whoa, what is NFTs? So when you're talking about NFTs, so there are a lot of things and there are a lot of things. Tell me something. How many of you feel that most of the NFTs are okay? Board app or in, let's say CryptoPunks or Bored Ape or CryptoKitties, this is useless. They're literally useless. And even then people are like paying millions and millions for it. How many of you feel that? Okay. Awesome. Okay. I'm just seeing just one guy who is saying they are useless. Cool. Okay, kind of a bubble. Okay, 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 cool. So let's come back and let's talk about first NFTs and then see why exactly a board ape is something which is valuable. Okay, I'll tell you why it is valuable and why I personally exactly believe what you're saying right now, that it's a bubble, it's gonna bust, and I missed that buying opportunity at literally like $200, $300, and today that those apes are somewhere around $70,000. Cool. So let me come back and tell you what exactly happened and what exactly is an NFT, and how just not a PHP image is not just everything which you think about NFTs. So first of all, when you talk about NFTs emerged as those things which might in your which might feel like they have no value. But what happens with an NFT? Let me first explain what an NFT is all about. Imagine if you have one Bitcoin here and another Bitcoin here. Are both these Bitcoins the same? Exactly. They are exactly the same. So they are fungible. But when you're talking about this, let's say a painting which is on the same platform, let's say is created by me, versus a painting that has been created by someone very famous. So they still are exactly the same tokens that I have, but the value of this token which I have created might be might hold value like $100 or $200 maximum if someone loves my art, which by the way I don't even love. But let's say the other person who has a lot of value is an artist and something like that. If he has created the same thing, what happens is his token has a lot more value, though both the tokens are almost the same. So this is where what happens is these are non-fungible. Does not matter if here and here I'm holding the same token, but the value that they represent at the back end are completely different. So that is why what happens is the value of each NFT might be completely different. Then what happens is what they actually go out and do. So initially, just NFTs were one thing, which was they were just representing a proof of ownership of something, which people started to publish as PHPs and something like that. And but slowly and steadily, as they're moving, because literally every day I see at least 10 to 12 projects coming and approaching me to see whether these projects can be moved to the market and how these things could be done into the market and their strategies and everything. They have gone and they have evolved a long way. What exactly or how exactly they are evolving? So let me talk to you just about the first one, which you feel like it's useless, which is Board Ape Yacht Club. Now, when this PHP or whatever you feel like it was created, so yeah, you can definitely go out and print and put it on your profile pic, say that okay, this is something which is I also have it, but you do not have its ownership. Now, what the point that people see in front is, so who cares? I have the same profile picture as let's say Eminem, and Eminem paid $330K, $1,000, but I paid nothing. I just screenshotted that picture, cropped it, and put it as my profile pic. So mine and Eminem's profile pic is exactly the same. Wow. But is there a difference? Is there something which we are missing? Absolutely we are. So what we are exactly missing? What we are missing is the value that this Yacht Club Board Ape has. Now let's say, what exactly is the value of the backend? So what is happening with this particular project? The creators of these projects, what they're trying to do is they're trying to go out and collaborate with a lot of big brands. So let's say they sign an Eminem, and Eminem bought it one particular ape for $330K, marketed it across in all his programs and everything. Now, what exactly happened here? Let's understand what happened behind it. Okay, so what happened behind it is now all the events, most probably what Eminem would do in the future, these board apes have done a collaboration with them. So now what happens is anytime Eminem is doing a private, let's say, event, or let's say he's doing something where you need the passes at a discount. First of all, you get the passes, and then you get those passes at a discount. So if you are a holder of this, if that is the real holder who is there, he is getting all the value which is associated with this just one association. Now imagine all these associations being done by top brands. And now what you have is the access of those places which at discounted rates, or those events which you might never have ever seen, but you have the access now. Why? Because you hold something that is something which is which is having a value through these associations. Now, that is why today, if you talk about this, and let's say when these associations go out, and let's say now tomorrow, Eminent goes out and does a show which is sponsored by Board Ape, what happens is all the revenue that that particular thing generates, that event generates, a part of that gets distributed to everyone who holds this particular NFT. Do you still feel that Board Ape is useless now? So that is something which is just one single example. What happens with NFTs, you have to go deep behind them, see what they're trying to do, and then where what happens exactly. Now you can term it as a company share, and the company is going out and doing stuff, and you're getting paid for it sitting at home. So now this is something where what happens is you get to understand how these things are working or how these things are there. Similarly, all these things, all these stones and everything that came into the picture, they all came because of this. And yes, again, 95 to, I will not say 95, I'll say 99% of these NFTs which are being created out just out of thin air without having a value are actually useless. But those who are getting, so that is why you have to go and deep dig into the project and see what exactly they're trying to do. Now, giving you another example, let's say a lot of new concepts that are coming in. Let's say you want to go, some people want to go out and do something. For say, let's say they want to do, or they want to create something with the help of people across the world. Let's say they want to go out and teach something, or they want to build something, or they want to create a community which is very much specific. Now, when those communities are very much specific, what happens is that all these things that are getting created, these NFTs can serve as a gate. Even today, what I can do is I can like literally go out and I can literally give you a proof of presence, and which you can use later on and say, okay, I was present at this particular event, which is something known as a POAP. Now here, what is happening is all these things try to represent something. And today, the one thing what can happen is, let's say if I would have said that I will issue a certificate to everyone who has been here. The problem with that is, first of all, I need to make a list of every person who has submitted. So first of all, the DTU folks would have to create a Google sheet. Then they'll have to note down every person's name. Then they will have to see who attended it. And then most probably I'll have to go out and give you those certificates. Most probably I'll forget something, or maybe some of the people would have given wrong names, their wrong email IDs. And that's a very big thing that to do. I've tried this to do it with one college. And after that, I literally said, I'm never going to do that. So this is something which is there. I cannot go out and do it. But with POAP or these NFTs, what I can do is I can right now just like literally go back, create a POAP for you, and I can just give it to you. If you have your decentralized wallets, then what will happen is you just click on mint, and that becomes a proof that you were here. Took me like 3 minutes and took you like 1 minute, and it's done. So that is where what is happening is all these things are evolving. All these things are creating a lot of value. Sometimes if you have some NFTs, just like Bored Ape, you get access to some things which the normal person cannot. So that is where all these NFTs are getting the value. Again, if you remember the first example I gave you of the movie, if in case, instead of having that ticket over my mail, I would have issued that email, like for example, that particular first thing through what? I would have issued that through, let's say, an NFT. Can you copy paste and send that NFT to anyone? The answer is no. So if someone bought those movie tickets as an NFT, what will happen is the moment he pays me, I will have to transfer the NFT to that person. So there is no way I could copy those NFTs and send it to 10 different people. Why? Because I have just transferred the original. So there is no more data duplicacy. So there is a project which I'm also working on, which is just exactly going to do this for the whole nation very soon. So yeah, all these things are creating value. Why? Because now I've literally solved this. And the second problem that I've solved is all these places, they charge a huge amount of transfer fees, or I don't know, internet carry charges. I don't even remember the name of the charges. But here what happens is, because all these things are done through on top of a blockchain, I can literally go out and issue those things in less than 1 rupee. So internet handling charges, which is 40 rupee, 30 rupee per ticket versus 1 rupee. And I'm 100% sure if I bought it from someone else also, that is going to hold value because that is the original ticket. I don't have to worry about whether that's an original or a duplicate or just a copy paste. So that is where these NFTs are actually going out and actually creating those values. So if you want to check out some of those things, you can just literally see some of the biggest marketplace is OpenSea, then Rarible, Art Blocks, NBA Top Shot, Nifty Gateway. So this is something where you can just literally go and check these things. And this is how you understand and how you evolve into this space, because this is where, like, literally Bored Ape has become a case study in one of the top colleges across the world. Why? Because this is how they created that kind of a value, a thing which had like the base value or the base of 0.03 ether or $200 today has a base price of 70 ether, which is somewhere around $7 to $210,000. So that is how these values are getting created. You have to find them. You have to understand how these values can be created, and you have to find them. And once you are able to understand this, then is the exact time when you will be able to go out and talk about metaverse, how the metaverse is getting created, and then Decentraland will make sense to you. Got it? So this is something where what you can do is you can learn more about it. And then one of the biggest problems, cryptocurrencies regulations in India, because I was asked to cover this as well. So if you talk about cryptocurrency regulations in India, nothing today is happening in India which is illegal, where if you're buying and selling NFTs or if you're buying cryptocurrencies, there is literally nothing where what is happening is you can feel, okay, this is an illegal thing that you're trying to do. And if you talk about opportunities or something which is getting created, so let me show you or let me share with you what exactly are the places where you can actually, being a developer, the first thing where you're literally taking hands on hands. If you know how to code or create those crypto projects, there is a huge demand. Then even for people who are non-techies, there are literally a lot of things that are there in India itself. So if you talk about research, you have just like equity research, you have blockchain research, gets you paid like 25 to 35 lakh rupees easily. Then you have product development guys who are just talking about these people who have the kind of value that is getting created. Then you have those blockchain consultants who are talking about, okay, whether the blockchain should be implemented in an organization or not. Treasury management guys who are going out and talking about or taking care of the whole treasury of the in terms of crypto. Let's say if you are someone who wants to file returns filing is something like today, if you file a return of income tax, just like for an individual which is non-crypto, you might get 1,000 rupees or something. But here you can easily ask 10-20,000 rupees easily per return if you know how to file those taxes. Node validators, internships. So on the right side, this is the internship that I personally did. So if you can see, the internship that I did, the internship paid me like 3,000 dice. One dice equals to $1. So I was literally getting paid somewhere around 2.1 lakh rupees for an internship per month, and it was a 6-month internship. So that is where even in an internship, if you have the kind of knowledge, people are looking out for you. And this is where what happens is you need to understand that if you are able to reach that position. So if you see here, the market that I have for crypto tech market in India, which is poised to grow at, this is the official data by the government, which is validated by the government agencies itself, where the market is getting growth at 2x compared to other markets which are there in India. And it's poised to create somewhere around 800,000 jobs in India by the end of 2030. So you're getting paid in good amounts. The opportunities are just starting. And all you need to know is you need to divulge into this. Yeah, trading is cool. Personally, I've not done a single trade in the last 6 months. Why? That's something which once you understand how these things are working, once you understand how these things are growing, this is something where you will forget about trading. You'll learn and you'll try to do something in this space. And believe me, if you want to do something in this space, there are ample of opportunities. There are companies just giving you literally money to go and create the projects. You don't need funding anymore. You're literally being given grants so that you can develop those projects, or you can work with those projects and all those things. All the marketing support and all kinds of things are being given to you. Today, they are being given because people want more and more projects to come into the picture. And tomorrow, what will happen is you will have to fight for creating a project, and you will have to show them, okay, we are the best. Only then you will be getting that traction. So today, if you talk about all these things, today exactly is the right time for anyone. And the last question, which people always have, government will ban cryptocurrencies. So let me tell you that that's something which is even not possible. Internet, cryptocurrencies mostly run on the internet. And in order for you to actually block Bitcoin from the whole nation is to shut down the internet. Otherwise, what will happen is if the government comes out and says the cryptocurrency is banned in India, what will happen is those illicit activities will start to emerge. So banning is never an option, and it's literally, I can tell you that banning the cryptocurrencies are never going to be banned. They're going to be regulated, which is a very must thing to have. So yeah, the adoption is there. If you see on this slide itself, 60% plus states in India have already adopted cryptocurrencies. And if you talk about government working on projects which are related to blockchain and not crypto, more than 50% of the states have already adopted it. So the adoption is happening. It's not that the government is not doing anything. Government is not the problem with government is the way they want to regulate. It will take time. It will take a very big understanding. It will take a very big chunk of their time to go out and do this. So this is something where what will happen is slowly and steadily, once they're able to evolve everything, what will happen is this will be going out, and this is something where you will find out how these things are evolving. Okay, and slowly and steadily, I think one question also came out: how do or where do I go out and study? So there are various ways. I think these on your screen, these are basically the free sources where you can just join the Telegram. I usually post a project on every day. I usually also post out some of the jobs as well every day, so that these are internships. Sometimes these are new things that are happening and everything. So you can just scan this and you can just join. So this is one thing, or you can just search Battle Brains, which is something which I particularly do. And if you want to do some courses as well, I think later on in the groups itself you will get that. And I'll also write it down for you: assure.graphy.com, where you have all these courses as well, where I have structured all of them in a way where you can just go out and learn them properly in a structured manner. So you can just check out those courses as well. So that is something which is there. And if you want to connect with me, you are most welcome to go on LinkedIn and just connect with me, share your questions which are there so that I can answer them. My LinkedIn is always open for anyone and everyone, even if the connections are not made. So you can go out and do that for you as well. And okay, so let's take some of the questions as well from people. And okay, let me see. Government, I told you government is not going to plan to ban all these things. Internet cannot be banned. So this is something which which will not have any banning effect. Okay, and then what happens is, how did I start? Awesome question. So how did I start was basically I was working in Amex and I was trying to find out something which I can do, which is just a little bit more than my job. So that is where I started. I was working in the treasury of American Express, and where I just wanted to try or find out something which is better, better way in which we can handle the treasury. And that's where I started learning about what are the alternate ways. And that is where I think I stumbled upon Ripple, because we had a standing relation with Ripple at that point of time in Amex. And then I started finding out what exactly the things that can be built. I assisted in 2 projects which were built within the company. And then what happened is, after doing this, let's say I started just getting out the internships. So this was my first internship that I made and that I did. So this was my first internship. And then I just basically self-taught myself, created the courses so that other people can also learn from that. And then I started my corporate journey. I would say I started with ZepPay, try to manage their finances or the treasury, their OTC, then went to SEBA. SEBA was also something which was a bank where I did my research. So basically, if you're seeing this page, I've done everything on this particular page. So research was my last job. Product development is something that sometimes I keep on doing for various projects which are already there. Consultancy, I keep on doing with various corporates. Treasury management, I did with ZepPay. Crypto tax returns. So yeah, I have a friend and a partner with me who is helping me with this. Node validator, I tried it. Did not work out for me. I stopped it. Content creation is something which we keep on doing within the group itself. So the Battle Brains is all about content creation. And internships, I already told you. So basically, this page is not about, okay, I just picked up something from the internet and I just showed it to you. This is something where I've already been and I've already worked on. So these are the things where I've tried and tested. And now another question: do I need to have coding language knowledge? I don't have it. So that answers you that do I need to have some coding language knowledge or something like that? The answer is no. It's about how much knowledge that you develop so that you become important for someone who wants exactly the talent that is you. Then I think, can we make hand drawings as an NFT? You can do it. How to get started? I've told you. Can you explain the different wings in asset? I'm not getting your question, sorry. And how much is the problem of gas fees in NFT? So yeah, gas fees is a problem. So probably use something which has lesser gas fees, maybe a layer 2, maybe Polygon. And okay, right. So acquisition of NFT is something that high. However, the token is something greater than that's what it is. Everything has its own value. I will not say something has a better value, something has a lesser value. Then can you talk about blockchain research? So blockchain research as a career is basically where what you do is, I used to do these things. So let me even show you that. So I used to write research papers for my previous organization. That's saber.swiss/research. Now here what you will find is, you will find some of the research work that I have done. I have written on, yeah, this is my article, the scalability, though they have not given me the credit because I left them. So scalability is one that I've written here. Then I used token economics is something that I've written. And before that, all these articles would have my name here. So you can just go out and you can just check these documentations as well. So this is what basically I used to do. In the research role, we used to see what exactly is happening in the blockchain world and would research and write articles so that people who are our clients, they can read more about it and they can understand. So here, yeah, that's me. So this is something which I used to do in that Seba, and that is something which is there on that. Sources for self-learning, I would say Twitter is the best source. Also, I keep on posting a lot of stuff in the group itself. I recently started it. So just share it with your friends. You also guys can join. And that's where, if you have queries also, there are interns who are there in the group whom I've taught myself. So they're going to give you the answers as well. So that way is also one of those things that you can do. Can you explain why NFTs are not environment friendly? I do not agree with that. First of all, they're very environment friendly. The first thing that I told you, Upwap, I just literally did it in 4 minutes and it is not consuming electricity and something like that. The mental pressure that I have to issue a certificate is way more. So what is Battle Brains all about? So what I've done is I've started to create something which is more towards the gamification of education, where what you do is you learn, you qualify with some quizzes, and the structure that I'm trying to make is something which is learn and earn. So once you start learning and once you reach a certain level in that particular learnings, there are ways in which the platform is going to reward you back for learning. So that is something which I'm working on. This is something which I recently started, like I told you, 2 weeks back, and the development and everything is happening right now. So as that goes out, I think the best way to know where the development is, everything, is the Telegram group right now. And no coding languages. So you need coding language requirement if you want to become a coder. Apart from that, you can pretty much dodge it. What do you think about Ripple case? No cryptocurrency talks. I will be kicked out of my company. Can you elaborate about public blockchain research? I just told you. How do you get started with metaverse creation? First of all, understand what metaverse is all about, how those things matter, and what exactly is the value that they're trying to give. Every metaverse project is not going to go out and would be something which is going to matter. So you have to basically learn and understand before you actually go into this. And can you have a practical spec in how? I can tell you, but man, would take time. Can you mint it as an NFT? Can you please tell how we can make a career in the sector and where to start? I think the best way is, like I've already told you, the best way to learn is basically from here. You can learn it from here. And is there any advantage of centralized blockchains? Literally nothing. Like literally nothing. centralized blockchains have been like one of the biggest failures, which is the private blockchains. I don't see a very big use case of centralized. So there are courses which are there, which you can pursue. So DeFi is there, so you can start with basics of blockchain. What I'll do is, for all of you who are there in the group, I'll create a code for you so that you can get these courses at 50% discount. Because so that's something that I can do. So this is something which is you start with basics, then go to DeFi. Crypto is something, if you want to read, you can go out and do it, otherwise don't. And then this is DAO. So DAO is something which is new in the making, and I would say this is like the 2012 of cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin. Had you bought Bitcoin in 2012? That's a question that everyone has in their mind. Where was I when the Bitcoin was in 2012? So this is exactly the question you might ask 3 years later down. Where was I when the DAOs were getting created? So slowly and steadily, I would say, try to learn about all these things, try to follow all these things. And this is something where you will understand how these things are functioning. So keep on just learning all those things, and this is how you can evolve and you can learn more about it. Manipulation can also be made in centralized cryptocurrencies, because manipulation right now is very easy right now, because right now mass adoption has not happened. Till the time mass adoptions don't happen, these manipulations will happen, and that is why you have to see the long-term gain. You do not have to see that short-sightedness or like trading. I never trade, like literally from the past 6 months I've never traded. So that is what you have to find out and you have to understand. And okay. Yeah, my DeFi course is actually basically where I've actually taken you to the practical platforms and I've shown you how these things work. So yeah, absolutely, it covers everything. On which network my DAO is going to be based? My DAO most probably is going to be on Polygon. What is the reason of crypto fall? Like I told you, I'm literally out of the crypto world. What is happening, the prices, most probably I don't know. Yeah, I will share it in the WhatsApp group itself. So if you are there in the WhatsApp group, or if you can just join the Telegram group itself, I'll just post the discount codes there. So you can just go out and buy it in the next 24 hours. I'll do that. So any of the places, either the WhatsApp group or in the Telegram group, anywhere you join. So that way you can get these codes. I haven't created it. I'll have to create it. So that's why right now I cannot give it to you.
Yeah, sure, sir. I'll send all your social media handles and the referral codes on the WhatsApp groups.
Awesome. I think all the questions are also done. And yeah, cool.
So this has been a really amazing session. I think I speak for everyone here when I say this. And we all want to connect with Aishwari, so I'll send all his social media handles and hope we'll see him again. So sure. If anyone has any doubts, you can ask them on the G1 webinar group also. But I think we have wrapped up almost everything we could in this really amazing session. So thank you.
One more question, can I ask?
Go ahead, quickly.
Yeah, hi Ashwarya. So don't you think organizations are coming with new and new cryptocurrencies day in and day out, and some of them have been fraudulent? So what's the recommendations?
So that's why, if you do not understand, I would never ask you to invest in something that you don't. Probably be in the blue chips, which are the top cryptocurrencies out there, because they are most probably being vetted and a lot of people have invested in it. That's why they value. But don't try to get into something which is very new so that you don't get duped. A lot of such cryptocurrencies give you a lot of profits, but they sometimes take away all your capital as well.
Yeah, but the hype is like you have to be an early player, right? So,
I wouldn't say that. So you don't have to be an early player everywhere. You just have to be an early player in one or two, which will give you a good return. Getting into everything, even personally, I would say I cannot do that. Even with all the knowledge and everything that I have a full team of 20 people who just keep on researching and doing all those stuff. Even then, I feel I'm not up to the market. So it's not something which can be done individually. Form groups, try to discuss about them, learn about them, discuss these things into, let's say, even in the Battle Plains Telegram group. Most of the people there, they're already those people whom I've taught. So this is the first public place where I've said that you can go and join those groups. Till there, all the people who are there in the group, they have learned from me already. So you have a pretty good amount of people with the knowledge already there. So you can leverage that knowledge as well. Awesome.
Yeah,
I'll leave now because
thank you.
I have a meeting in 1 minute. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Great session.
Yeah.
So guys, I have just 2 more announcements for everyone. As everyone knows, Assets is now recruiting. all these things here, all the referral codes will be available to Assets members exclusively. So make sure you fill the recruitment form. Also, we'll be having a mock shocks event. You'll get the details to that event on our Instagram page, along with everything related to Ashwari's social media handles, etc. I will also share the referral code there. So make sure you follow our Instagram page. So thank you guys. This has been a really amazing session and you've been a great audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
If anyone has any other doubts related to the recruitment procedure or anything, you can ask them on the meeting chat.